So you know the saying, when someone needs to be saved, it's SOS? Well, for the Pelicans, it's SAD, as in Save Anthony Davis. And ironically enough, it also spells the word sad. There's my really corny intro to start this video. I hope you enjoyed it. The New Orleans Pelicans, they're 7-14 at the moment. Anthony Davis has been perhaps the best player in the NBA this season. 32 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks a game, over 50% from the floor. AD is awesome, and he's only 23 years old. The team around him, not very good, as they have one of the bottom records in the NBA. They're currently 26th in offensive rating and 14th in defensive, so at least they were playing some respectable defense throughout the season. Now, the thing that should be said is Jrue Holiday came back recently, and since Jrue has returned, they have been a bit better. Of course, they did go on a 4-game winning streak once he returned. Also, my phone just vibrated, you may have heard that. But they've also lost 4 of their last 5 since Jrue returned as well, so hopefully things aren't starting to go down, but let's talk about this team. And I think what can be said immediately is upon Jrue Holiday's return, there were more moments of Anthony Davis being able to not just do everything. I mean, Jrue Holiday has the ability to play in the pick and roll. I was seeing some highlights where more than once a Jrue Holiday Anthony Davis pick and roll would result in either AD just rolling to the basket, or at times it would force a switch out of the defense, which then allows AD to go to work on a smaller player. But it also allows Jrue to do something against someone who typically can't defend him because it'll be a power forward or it'll be a center. Specifically, this happened against the Blazers, where CJ as well as Plumlee were defending the Jrue and AD pick and roll. Plumlee ended up on Jrue, and then I think Holiday just shot like a mid-range jumper over him. But if he wanted to, he could have given it to AD for a post-up on CJ McCollum, which probably would have had a good result as well. Jrue also has an ability to just create his own shot. So to have another guy who the defense has to actually pay attention to, besides Anthony Davis, that's awesome. There are times when Jrue can just beat his guy off the dribble. There was one play against the Timberwolves where Jrue was able to beat his guy without even a screen, just, a couple crossovers, whatever, he was able to get by him. I think my phone just went off again. And Anthony Davis was around 15 feet away on the baseline, and he hit AD because the help defense had to care about him, and then it resulted in a 3-point play for Davis as he took one dribble and finished inside the paint. These are the things Jrue Holiday can do, so it's really good that AD has another guy who the defense has to actually care about. And now I guess we can just talk about Anthony Davis. I mean, of course he's a monster, and I think what's so effective for him is he doesn't necessarily post up a lot, quote-unquote, in the terms of backing people down, but his face-up game is so good. His ability to use his jab steps to get you off balance for just a split second, and in that moment he'll either rise up for a jumper, which, by the way, I think it's not talked about enough how high Anthony Davis's release is. He's 6'11", he has a quick release, and it's really damn high, so it's tough to contend him, and of course he's also very good from mid-range as well. I could actually see him getting to a LaMarcus Aldridge, Dirk sort of level on mid-range. He's really shown that much promise from there. But he also has an ability to hit you with a couple of quick moves off of those jab steps. There was a play against Karl Anthony Towns where AD just very quickly in the face-up just hit him with like one little move, and then he immediately power dribbled into the paint, and then he rose up and hit a right-handed hook shot over him. Another time he hit like a spin hook shot over the Clippers, I want to say. I think Blake Griffin was defending him, so AD's ability to create his own shot is very good. His runner is also real solid, where he'll get you off balance for a split second, might put an elbow or a shoulder into you, and then he has the right-handed runner that's very good. And of course, he's the best pick-and-roll player in the NBA today. So, I mean, Anthony Davis, the guy's awesome. Having one dude in Jrue Holiday who can create, it's going to make them better offensively. We have already seen that. Now, all of that being said, they have lost 2 in a row as well as 4 of their last 5, so what's going on? Well, outside of Jrue and AD, the offense is kind of tough to come by. Tim Frazier was pretty damn surprising to open up the season as a point guard who can help out Anthony Davis. Ever since Jrue has come back and they've used that double point guard starting lineup, Frazier has really not been good at all. In his last 5 games, he's averaging 7 points and 5 assists, which the assists aren't bad, but his percentages are awful. 28% from the field and 12% from 3, so I mean, maybe it's a hell of a coincidence, or it might be because he and Drew Holiday just can't play with each other in the starting lineup. Of course, Drew's the better player, so perhaps Tim Frazier needs to go to the bench, and you could start, well, that's one of your problems. There's really not a go-to starting wing on this team. Dante Cunningham has always been a nice defensive player, and he's hitting his threes this season, so he has that going for him, but in terms of creation, finishing at the rim, he's really not that good, but at least he can stretch the defense out a little bit. Solomon Hill, the experiment with him has not been good so far. His three-point shot, which was really, really valuable against the Raptors in the playoffs for the Pacers, he's not hitting his outside shots. He's shooting 30% from 3 at the moment. Etuan Moore's around 33%. Buddy Hield has not adjusted to the NBA very well. So far, I still have high hopes for him. I mean, the one guy who'd really be able to help him is Quincy Pondexter because he's been a proven shooter in the past. He's still injured, man, so you might be kind of forced to roll with this Frazier and Holiday lineup because who the hell's going to hit a jumper off the bench for you? I mean, Cunningham is the one guy, and he's pretty much a small forward anyway, so they're going to have to hope either Buddy Hield, Etuan Moore, Solomon Hill, or hell, if Tim Frazier can get it going, someone's going to have to start hitting their outside shots. And the thing is, like, again, Frazier was hitting his shots. He's still shooting 35% for the season from 3, so if he can just get back up there, then the dynamic of Drew and Frazier together in the starting lineup, that could actually be something. So pretty much right now, their offense is Drew can create and run pick and rolls with Anthony Davis, and then Anthony Davis is a monster. Hopefully somebody else can catch fire for them. I will say that Terrence Jones at the power forward spot, he's been pretty damn good. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 46% from the floor. I mean, he was always an interesting player with Houston. It was like, man, you know, this guy's an athlete. He finishes well inside. He knows how to move around the floor defensively. Like, this guy has something, and it seems like of all the chances that they've taken with guys this offseason, Terrence is the one who's actually performing up to what you would hope so far, so that's good. But now it's time to get to the defense, and they've actually managed to be an okay defensive team this season. Like I said, 14th in defensive rating is, hey, it's okay. But I don't think it's possible for you to be a legit, like, top 10 defense if Omer Asik is your starting center. Asik is very not good on both sides of the floor. He's averaging a whopping 4 points a game while playing in 18 minutes as the starting center of this team. Defensively, he sucks too. And this could really be shown against the Clippers, where they just got him in pick and rolls as often as they could, where they would screen with DeAndre. Asik pretty much had no chance. His lateral quickness in the open floor is just not that good, which is odd because when he was on the Rockets a couple seasons ago before the Pelicans acquired him, like, he was putting up double-doubles. He was like a brick wall defensively, and then he shows it like once every 3 games. I have to quote Zach Lowe on that one. And I think it's affecting the rest of the defense because what happens is Anthony Davis, who is a very good defender, no doubt, he kind of overcompensates on defense because he knows that Asik sucks. This could be seen in the Clippers game where more than once, whenever someone would get inside on the Clippers, whether it be Blake, whether it be a perimeter player, whether someone would be cutting inside, whatever, you could see AD like start to creep towards the paint and leave his guy with a little bit of space. Because he knows Asik's not going to frickin' do anything. Asik is averaging half a block a game. Like, he's not intimidating on defense whatsoever, so Anthony Davis tries to make up for it, and you know what happens? It resulted in a whole hell of a lot of Blake Griffin open jumpers. Unfortunately, that's what AD pretty much has to do when his center just sucks. I will say Asik is an okay rebounder. I think he has a place on a team playing 10 to 15 minutes a game off the bench, but that's pretty much all he has going for him. It's really weird because, again, he was a legit player on the Rockets, man, so I don't know what the hell happened to him. Now, the worst part of this, Asik is pretty much the only center on this team, so he kind of has to start. Like, yeah, I would like to see Terrence Jones in there with Anthony Davis at the center's position, but AD can't play center over an entire season. He's just too thin for that, you know? Sure, he can play it in moments, and he does, but 82 games wrestling up against guys who weigh like more than him, that's just tough for Anthony Davis. So you're kind of stuck with Asik unless you can find some like Hassan Whiteside-esque diamond in the rough at center, which the Hassan Whiteside thing like never ever happens, so pretty much to sum this whole thing up for the Pelicans, Drew Holiday's return gives them an actual NBA offense with him and Anthony Davis, so that's good. Hopefully Tim Frazier can bounce back and be the legit perimeter player that they had when Drew was out. I think having him handle the ball and Drew playing off ball a little bit more can help, just because Drew's actually a good three-point shooter. But of course you do want Drew to have the ball too, because again, he's the guy who actually makes the defense care about someone other than AD. Hopefully Solomon Hill, Etuan Moore, Buddy Hield, some perimeter wing player can actually start knocking down outside shots and spread the defense out. If Omer Asik can be respectable, awesome. If Terrence Jones can keep it up, can this team fight and claw their way into the 8th seed in the Western Conference? Well, the 8th seed right now is the Blazers. They're a game over 500, and the only other team above them that I see potentially dropping out would be the Grizzlies because of the Mike Conley injury. That's going to be really tough. I think it's another lottery season, even if they can fight to like 40 wins, because, I don't know, I like to be optimistic about these things. You do have Tyreek coming back. I've never been a huge fan of Tyreek Evans. He's a guy who has the ball in his hand a lot, has never been a good outside shooter, besides last season where he actually shot 39% from 3, but it was only in 25 games. Could he extend that to an entire season? Maybe. If he does, that'd be awesome, because then he's a guy who the defense has to actually care about when the ball is not in his hand. But even besides that, he is a ball stopper. He has been up and down with his efficiency pretty much his whole career, and his decision-making with the ball is not always the best. But still, I do think Tyreek can help you out. Might be a long season for the Pels. I think the lottery is probably where they're going to be, and Anthony Davis is still going to be like a top 5 player.